Hi, welcome to another installment of RVing for Newbies. Today we're going to be replacing our outdoor outlet and the end of our shore cord with a new smart plug. It's a lot easier to do, and I'm going to show you what I don't like about the current one that almost every RV out there. If you plug a shore cord into the side of your RV, it's almost every one of these are the exact same. And I'll tell you about why I don't like them.
RV Mentor, RVing for Newbies, ethics disclaimer. All the tools being used, the items being installed or reviewed were purchased by RV Mentor. The only exceptions will be denoted in the next slide in this video, giving the name of the manufacturer, the items, and how they were acquired, donated, etc. The things stated in this video are the opinions of RV Mentor and are just that, opinions, but are based on 13 years of being an RV owner and being an RV inspector. Let's get on with the video.
Here is part 2 of installing a smart plug in your RV. We've got a 30 amp RV here. We've got a 30 amp cord. Here's what normally shows up with your RV. One of these kind. Absolutely hate it. Can't get it on there, cross-threaded half the time. You got this whole ordeal of going, is it this way or does it go this way? Which way is it supposed to be tight? Is it making good enough connections? So today, we're going to replace it with a smart plug. Take a look at this. It's not really complicated. We'll go through it, but this is when you have it installed in your RV. You push it in. These two guys here on the sides, lock it in place. You're done. No spin wheel, none of that other garbage. You saw in the previous video, I'd already had made one of these cords with this end on it. You saw how it worked. Today, we're going to cover what you got to do to take this one off. We're going to cut it here, and then we're going to install it, that wire, into this guy here. All the items you're going to need to make this happen. Number one, you're going to need your plug. Okay? It comes with Allen wrench, with some screws. Comes with these two contraptions, which we'll see what we're going to use those for here later. They will require some soap. You're going to want some paper towels. Tape measure. We got to measure some things. Potentially a knife, because we're going to be cutting off this old end here. Wire cutters. Wire stripper. And a screwdriver. Alright, so let's get started. I'm going to show you both ends of the cord. I want you to make sure you realize which end we're working with. Don't make the mistake. Do not cut off this end with the 3 prongs on it. That's not the side we're going to be replacing. That's the side you need to keep. Okay. That being said, take a look here. This is the end with the little squirrely things here in the middle. Spin dial. We're getting rid of that one. Okay, first thing we're going to do is cut off this end. I do not have one of those crazy wire cutters that will let me cut all the way through in a big chunk. So I'm going to do it in pieces, because that may be what you have. Anyway, this is going to come off as close to that part as you can. I took out a knife, and I score. This is the second one of these I'm doing. I've already done one, and wanted to make sure I knew how easy or how hard it was going to be prior to me jumping in doing the second one. Now then people are going to say, well, why in the world do you have 2 cords? Well, the truth of the matter is that's one of the reasons we're going through this after all. The first one I had moved, look at that. Blade comes right out, isn't that slick? Fix that. The first one I had, I made the mistake of moving my RV ever so slightly with it still hooked in. And it literally ruined that whole inside section. So, ended up having to buy a new cord. That being said, I have 2 cords now. Okay, so we've got this mostly cut through. Let's take the knife, see how much more we can cut through. We know we can't cut through the wire, and that's okay. But let's see if we can get through some of the insulation too. Alright. Now we're going to take our wire cutters. Just going to go in here really nice and sweet. We're going to cut some of this away. And don't worry, because we're going to have to work on the ends anyway when we get ready to do this, to get ready to hook the new one in. So if you feel like you're destroying it, don't sweat it. Just cut it. Make it happen. We'll clean it all up when we're done. We right now need to get this end off. Alright. End all gone. This can go to the trash. Okay, so we've got our open end here. We're going to measure 1¼ inches from the end here. And we're going to try to make a little tiny mark there. 1/2, 1/4. Because what we want to do is we want to cut just that amount of the jacket off. Okay. Now that you got that off, you want to remove all of the excess filler, insulation pieces, parts, string, and you'll see you have green, black, and white wires. Okay, so carefully here, let's cut all this excess off because we don't need this garbage here. Alright, so now we have our wires exposed. Our next thing is we're going to cut 1/2 inch off the insulation of each of these. Good. Okay, twist those guys. Alright, twist the ends, make sure they're all staying together nice. Okay, we're going to set the wire aside for a minute because now we got to put our whole component pieces, parts together. So we'll set the wire aside. Alright, take this apart. Okay, squeeze the ends, take the front part out, take the little rubber gasket that's sitting on the front of this. It's just kind of placed on there. It should still have its little sticky backing because we're going to put that on when we're all said and done with after we've screwed it all together. So go ahead and take that off now. Set it aside. We'll come back to it. Okay. Alright, so now, this is our next piece that we're going to be dealing with. This is where the wires are going to go. But, before we get to that part, this is what the soap is for. We're going to try to make this as waterproof connection as possible. To do that, things are going to get a little complicated here. Not too bad, but a little bit. Okay, these are the 3 parts we're going to work with next. Okay, take your back. Take this cone-like looking thing. Up to the end of this first notch right here has to go into the back of here. So it may take you a little bit, and if it happens to be cold where you're at, you may want to warm this stuff up a little bit to make it a little more pliable. So as you see, it is me battling getting the cone part in. Wasn't too bad. Okay, make sure that's seated in there nicely. Take a look from the inside. Make sure it doesn't look all crunchy in there, which it does right now. So, let's work this from the inside so that it sits where it's supposed to and it looks nice and fits in there. Okay, next up, paper towels and soap. So what's going to happen here is we're going to take this white piece, lather it up with a little bit of soap here. The way this works is you get that thing partly in there, then you take your wire, they slide in here too, and the whole thing, if it works right, your wire and the cone will come out the other side. Because that's how you got to feed this in to be able to make this somewhat waterproof. Now, how far do we go through? You want 6 to 8 inches beyond the front of this. So we'll pull out. As you can see, it slides right through there nice and easy now. Wipe off all the outside soap. Take out your tape measure. Anywhere from 6 to 8 inches past the end of here. So we're sitting at about 6.5. We'll go about another 1/2 inch. We'll go 7. And you got enough soap on there, you can just pull it through. It slides beautifully. Okay, this is not needed anymore. Set it aside. Alright, you now have 6 to 8 inches of wire hanging out the front. We'll move on to the next step. Alright, now we're going to put some wires in here. Look at this. This is no brainer, right? Black, white, and green. You know exactly, they tell you exactly which wires have to go where. Don't screw this up. Take your hex wrench, and on the outside of each of those is a little spot. Loosen those guys up a bit. Now you don't want to loosen them all the way up to where it falls out, which I have done in the past. Okay. But just enough to make sure you're going to be able to get your wire in there. Okay, as you look at the inside of these guys, okay, let's take this one for example. Two ways these things can go in. Make sure you're paying close attention. Notice, the one I'm playing with on the white, on the inside of there is where, as long as you push this in, that's how the electric wire will get crimped in there. Do not have it all the way out to where it's touching plastic and wire. It needs to go into the middle where the wire is. Where the metal part is, that's where the wire goes. Okay. In the instruction sheet, they talk a little bit about bending these wires to make it a little easier for them to all fit in there right. Highly recommend you do it. Okay, we've got all of our wires ready to go, right? Now, as I was saying, if you're putting this in here like this, right, and you're holding it this way, notice the green on the bottom, okay? See what I'm talking about there? You want to make sure you're holding it up when you go to put that wire in there. Just like the two on the sides, you want to hold inward. So let's just put the black wire in first. Okay? Let's make sure we're pressing that part in. The white wire will go in. The black wire will go in. Okay? When you go to crimp this down, you want to make sure that it's in the housing. Okay? Just like the green one, like I showed you before. The wire needs to go in the housing, not on the outside. Right? Because the set screw to tighten it down is going to tighten on the wire that's in the housing, not if it's sitting on the outside. You'll know when we get ready to do final testing and we tug on these guys to see whether they're in the housing tight enough or not. Alright? If it's not in the housing, you'll be able to pull it right out because you would have tightened the set screw onto nothing. Just some food for thought to keep in mind. So, I'm going to quit talking, and I'm going to go ahead and get these guys put in here. What did we do? See how that came right back out? That was totally intentional. I wanted you to see what's going to look like if you tighten it down and it's not in the housing. That's what's going to happen. It'll fall right back out. So this may take you a couple of times, seriously, before you feel comfortable that it's all in there the way it needs to be. Crank it down. Trust me, crank this down really tight. Otherwise, you're going to tug on it the first time when you're going to go, well, this doesn't make any sense. Why the heck is the wire coming back out? Alright? Once you get the black one done, do the white one and the green one. If you're cranking these down and you think they're tight enough and you can still turn it, they're not. Last thing we'll do once we get these all put in here is we'll tug on every one of these to make sure they're not going to come out. Okay. Tug on the white, tug on the green, tug on the black. We got nothing. Everybody take a look in there. Make sure you're not crimped onto the insulation, that you're only crimped onto the wire. You can be able to take a peek in the back in here and look at it. I'm not going to try to show it to you because it can take it out of focus of the camera. But just make sure that you're crimped on the wire, not on the insulation. If you trimmed it all the way you should have, you should be fine. Okay, take a look at the 5 screws that it came with. Okay, there is literally 5 of them. There are 3 of one size, 2 of the other. Okay, the 3 will be used to seal the main component case with this guy. Okay, the other 2 are your strain relief. Okay, they are self-threading. Put them in, get them lined up, and get out the screwdriver and begin to tighten these guys down. Of course, the question is going to ask, well, how far do I tighten them down? Okay, tighten them down, alternating like 1 or 2 turns. The instructions say 1 between each. And the height, the concept is, should be tight enough to hold the wire in place, but having a gap here is okay. You'll see that in the instructions. We're now going to take and slide this back forward. Should still be enough soap on there to help slide this easy enough. Alright, we're going to get it just to the point where we make sure we're going to line up right so we can twist it if we need to. Once you've gotten that to the point, we will finish sliding this in. And then push those guys together. If you hear it click, you know it's back far enough. Once you push it in and it clicks, you're good. Okay, last thing we got left to do here. Next to the last. We got these 3 screws. We need to put these guys in here. Now, if it's lined up right, okay, you heard me say it clicks, right? Push it a little bit further back beyond that to where it'll be seated in where it needs to go. And then your screwdriver. Take and let's put these 3 screws in here. Tighten these bad boys up. No need to over tighten them. You'll know when you get to the end, they'll kind of stop. Alright, last thing is the handy dandy rubber gasket. I'm not putting this on yet until I go check the cord and make sure everybody seems to be working nicely. So we'll go do that next. Alright, you've already seen how that plugs in yesterday on part 1. So we took this out, tested it, made sure it was good. Ran just a little under 30 amps through it. No sparks. Sparks are a bad thing. Last but not least, you're going to put this rubber gasket on. So you're going to peel off its little adhesive protection piece on the back here. Maybe. There we go. Peel that off. Slide that bad boy in there. Hold the little spring action in so it goes all the way in. Then just go ahead and tap it so it kind of seats all the way up against the back. Use your screwdriver, flathead, Phillips, doesn't matter. So it seats back up against the back in there. And you should be good to go. That pretty much is all there is to it. Of course, you got to clean up your big old mess here. But probably the hardest part out of this whole shenanigan is scooting that wire through there since it's all soapy and stuff. Any questions, don't hesitate to post in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel. Click the little bell if you want to be alerted when the new ones come out. If you haven't watched episode 0 of my channel, go back and watch it. There's a reason you want to watch that, and it explains it to you towards the end. I will give you a hint. Every one of the videos has something in it that flashes by really quick. And you be the first one to comment on it, you get a 15-minute free mentor session with RV Mentor. Thanks. Talk to you soon.